Hello, hello, my friends. It is Aldo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things about the galaxy far, far away. I am your host, Jarod, the Dark Jedi, Bachman Stubbs, and joining me this week is Kason Brian.
That one's for Travis.
All right, this is for Travis, and by extension, Akira Toriyama.
Yes, for Akira Toriyama.
So, what you sipping on today?
This is Simply Spiked Blueberry Lemonade.
Okay. I'm not boozing it tonight. I did, however, have a find at my local Giant Eagle.
What was that?
Now, Kason has accompanied me to enough movies to know that my movie theater drink of choice is a 50-50 blue raspberry and cherry icy.
Yes.
Some would say it is the only icy that you should ever have. I'm a
Coke slushy guy myself.
Well, Taylor's big on Coke and cherry. Like, she makes a cherry Coke, which also goes hard. But in recent time, a lot of different brands have decided that they wanted to get in on Bomb Pop's market and have been doing popsicle flavored drinks. Smirnoff has their red, white, and berry. All manner, Mountain Dew has one that they do around summertime.
Yeah, Red, White, and Dew.
Red, White, and Dew. Yeah, Prime obviously has it. We were at the store at our local Giant Eagle, and Taylor saw. Now, I will say, I've never been a Faygo guy.
Yeah.
I could get down with a Faygo grape, Faygo orange, sometimes,
Yeah.
That's one of those, I never get myself grape or orange soda. But if, I'm at a function and they decided to go with Faygo, an affordable choice, especially if you're buying in bulk for a bunch of people. And it's grape, orange, and then Faygo Cola. I'm not here for Faygo Cola. I'm going to go grape or orange, and I'm going to tear up some grape soda for the rest of the night.
That's fair. I can get down with Faygo cream soda every once in a while, too.
Faygo cream soda is nice. Faygo Firework.
It actually tastes like Bomb Pop?
I mean, if y'all can see, I'm full screen myself here. It's got the Poppy Boy there. Sorry, the light is gleaming off of it. But
look at this can.
Yeah, Faygo, if you're listening. I told myself, because so at my family's house, because Smirnoff has just decided to sell red, white, and berry all year round because it is such a hit, which is great.
Yeah, it started in the summer, like 4th of July thing, and then they were like, oh yeah, just let it roll.
And I kind of over red, white, and berried myself. Like, I had so much when I could that I kind of lean back off of it. But it's also the vodka version. The vodka version, I only like to drink when I have a blue raz or a cherry thing to cut it with. And every time I've been over to the house, my mom's like, hey, you have 4 bottles of red, white, and berry here. Some were gifts. Some were gifts. Some were just, Jared's coming over. Let's make sure he has something to drink. And they forgot they already had a bottle of red, white, and berry. So I just have a shit ton of red, white, and berry at my family's house. And I told Taylor, I was like, I'm only gonna drink one of these Fagos, until I have my red, white, and berry vodka in the house. I've already polished off an 8-pack of this soda.
Yep.
Because holy God, this is incredible.
Here she
But
goes.
it do go. One moment, I have to let Taylor know our food has arrived.
Oh.
Little word to the wise: if you ever order anything from Journeys, they will more often than not send you a little DoorDash coupon.
Oh, is that a new thing
That's
they're doing now?
They've been doing that for a while,
Interesting.
and I've let every single coupon lapse until tonight.
You're like,
And
last one.
huh?
Last one.
Nah, I don't know if it's going to be on live. I don't think it's the last time I'll buy there.
Well, fair.
But no, shit slaps. Anyway, we do have a show to talk. We have Star Wars to talk about, and first and foremost, folks, for those of you who have not done it already, this is our last chance to promote it. This will be going up on Sunday the 10th,
Fill out
which
a
means you
bracket.
have 2 days. Fill out a bracket. The Knights
Star Wars
of the
March
Nerd,
Madness.
Star Wars March Madness, baby. The Knights of the Nerd Republic versus Series Season 4 tournament is being broadcast Tuesday the 11th, or Tuesday the 12th, sorry. Tuesday the 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be Spencer and I going through this bracket you see here to get down to who we think of the legendary combatants of Season 4, who will come out on top. So what you will do, so go to the Nerd Academy podcast on whatever social media you prefer. It is the pinned tweet on our Twitter right now. That's the easiest for you. We have the bracket as listed. So round 1 on the winner's side, these are the people who won their matchups in Versus Series Season 4. Kyle Katarn versus Kanan Jarrus. Lord Vader, so pre-suit Vader, versus Darkseid ending Star Killer. Porter Engle, circa The Blade, Maul, as he is featured in the Siege of Mandalore, Ahsoka Tano, as she is featured in the Siege of Mandalore. Oh, so sorry, Kanan versus Kyle, Lord Vader versus Lord Starkiller, Porter Engle versus Maul, and then Ahsoka versus Stellan Gios. And then the winner of each of these will go on to face Darth Vader, Darth Krayt, Mace Windu, and Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, respectively. On the other side, it'll be Jedi Master Dooku versus Dagan Gera, Qui-Gon Jinn versus Reva, Shak-Ti versus Sindralig, and Cal Kestis circa the events of Jedi Survivor versus General Grievous. And the winners of those will then go on to face Darth Sidious, Exar Kun, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Bane, respectively. After that, and we whittle it down to one winner on each side of the bracket, those two will then face off in the finals, and all you have to do, let me switch slides for our video viewers. Tournament rules. Fill out your own bracket with who you think will win each matchup. Do not forget the final match where each side meets. Submit your bracket to nerdacademypod@gmail.com. One more time, that is nerdacademypod@gmail.com with the subject line versus bracket. The most accurate bracket wins free Nerd Academy merch. So once you submit the bracket after the stream, I'll reach out to whoever wins it, get your information, and I'll be sending you some Nerd Academy merchandise free of charge on the house. So again, go find this bracket. It's on our Twitter, it's on our Instagram, it's on our Facebook, it's on our TikTok. It's on all of our social media. Go ahead, download it. And you can either write on the graphic of the bracket itself, or if you prefer, you can just type it out in the email, whichever. Just make sure you have the subject line versus tournament or versus bracket in the subject line. And it will be valid. And I'm going to be taking these up until the last minute. We're going to take these to the last minute. So I'm going to compile them. I'm going to look at them right before we start, so I have them all in a line. I'm going to go through them. We only have a few in already. The only people who are not allowed to submit are Spencer and myself. So other than
I'm
that,
doing my part. I haven't
Kason,
submitted one yet, but
Kason,
I'm going to.
Kason is part of the problem. Submit a bracket.
I am part of the
I will
problem. Don't
say
be like me.
as a little bit of
When
housekeeping.
I clip this out for TikTok, I'm gonna look in the camera like this, and it's gonna go problem across the screen.
Start playing anti-hero. It's me.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Anyway,
Always gotta get a little bit Taylor in there.
no, absolutely. We love Miss Taylor. What was I saying? Shit.
Fill out a bracket. Don't forget.
Yes, fill out a bracket. Don't forget, get free merch.
Yeah.
Oh, the housekeeping. Next
Yes.
year, I want to shout out our dear friend of the show, Trey Mitchell, formerly of Skywalking Through the League and Mile High Cinema. Next year, it's going to be a Google form. Next year, we're going to do a Google form. By the time I had already promoted this on air and had the social media posts ready to go, Kason already made the graphic. I had already made the rules graphic. And all of this had been shipped out and planned this way. Next year, this is going to be infinitely easier. So we're just going to do a Google form and go from there. So if it is a matter of the bracket graphic is cluttered, next time will be better. And it's hard to write on whatever.
Apologize for that. I made
No,
it.
no. I'm saying cluttered. It's like as in like once you start writing on it, it becomes illegible. Which is fair. That is, I people have encountered that problem. Google form never occurred to me, but please fill this out. We'd love to share some free TNAP merch with you guys. It's probably going to be like a t-shirt, some stickers, maybe a mug. But yeah, go to our social media, save the image right on it, and send it into nerdacademypod@gmail.com with the subject line versus bracket. And we're going to help win you guys some merch and do an entire season's worth of versus series in like 2 hours. There's some matchups here I'm very excited for. I will say, and again, these are randomized. So I just take the winners and I just spin a wheel and do matchups. The only time I respin is if the matchup has happened before.
Okay.
To avoid something like that, or if like it happened in canon. Or like if these characters have fought before, I kind of take it out of the equation in the name of fairness. But I will say the random number god smiled on my edgelord ass when they decided I got to do pre-suit Vader versus Darkseid ending Starkiller.
Yeah, that's the edgelord matchup for sure.
That is the match the edgelords are coming for, and I know because I am one. But that said, and before we jump into the show proper here, thank you for your patience. Word from our sponsors at Sunday's Bloody Mary. You guys know the drill. Sunday's Bloody Mary has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement. Join their email list in the galaxy, including their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. And if you want to get your freak on and garnish that bad boy, you can use their also award-winning pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus to make yourself a supreme Bloody Mary. As a former bartender, I know how to make a damn good Bloody Mary from scratch. And let me tell you, if I can make myself from scratch or I got a jar of Sundays in my house, I'm going Sundays all day, every day. It is the only Bloody Mary mix I will touch. It's the only Bloody Mary mix on the planet I like. You pick up a bottle of Zing Zang, get that shit out of here. Sunday's Bloody Mary is the only pre-mixed Bloody Mary mix I will ever touch. So use the link in the description down below and use the code TNAP, TNAP at checkout.
Also makes a great gift if you know anybody who likes tomatoes with alcohol.
Yes. Yes.
Me personally, not a fan. My sister loves Bloody Marys.
You got to get her some Sundays.
Exactly.
Got to get her some Sundays. You'll go crazy for it. God, that popsicle soda is so good. Make me cry. With my luck, there's going to be no more ever again.
Right.
I'm gonna have all of one mixed drinks with it, and then never have it again. So before we jump into our conversation about Bad Batch Season 3, we do have a little bit of news. Our last episode of KNR, when we were talking about the Bad Batch, obviously we missed last week, so we're going to be talking about both A Different Path and The Return in this episode. Is it a different way or a different path?
I think it's a different path.
Okay. I'll fact check that before we get into the conversation proper. But
I got you.
There were rumblings that Respawn Entertainment, the video game developers that brought us the Star Wars Jedi franchise, were in the development stages of a Mandalorian first-person shooter game. Details were not murky as to the identity of the titular Mandalorian that would be in the game.
A different approach.
A different approach. We were
We were
close. We
both
wouldn't
wrong.
have gotten the point. Don't Alden, Michael, don't watch. But yeah, no. So we didn't know if it was going to be about Din Djarin. All we knew was that it was a Mandalorian bounty hunter, first-person shooter, that would take place during some point in time during the Empire's reign, be that the Imperial Remnant, the rise of the Empire, or the Dark Times proper. We were supposed to get a game starring a Mandalorian in a first-person shooter. Very exciting news. A lot of people were very hyped about it, myself included, Kason included. We were all very rah, Mandalorian video game. And then that pesky devil capitalism decided to rear its ugly head, and a rash of layoffs in the video game industry at large took place. Insomniac was hit pretty hard. All of these developers, all of these studios faced some devastating layoffs, including Respawn Entertainment, which resulted in the cancellation of this Mandalorian video game. It is heartbreaking. I don't like to. We're gonna take two paths here and say the obvious that the biggest loss here, the thing that we all should be the most upset about is that there are people, there are artists, there are people who've dedicated their life to this craft, this very noble career in creating video games. There was a clip of Brennan Lee Mulligan that went viral this week that I was laughing at because I was like, yes, like this man and I just share some type of brain cell.
Yes.
Kason constantly says that we're the same person, and it is one of the highest compliments I've ever been paid in my life. But he did this joke about like my superpower I'd want is it would be the multiplicity thing, so I could be in multiple places at work. I could get so much done. And Siobhan Thomas was like, yeah, because Brennan's a dirty capitalist. And he was like, no, there is nobility in labor, there is beauty in creation. And that is the center, I think, of this conversation. There is nobility in labor, there's beauty in creation. And
Yes.
it is heartbreaking to see these artists, this very specialized laborer, lose their job because of the expectations of infinite growth that a lot of these corporations have. Disney, Lucasfilm, Marvel Studios have all seen layoffs like this in recent time. And it is because the brain rot of infinite expansion that infects the big wigs and the suits who make these decisions. And at the end of the day, as much as I would have liked the Mandalorian video game, as much as we're going to talk about the lineage and the shame, I don't want to say shameful, but the not so proud history of Star Wars video games that die in development for myriad reasons. It is deeply disappointing to see a lot of people be out of work when they were doing their thing, kicking
Absolutely.
ass, taking names. Again, doing one of the most noble acts in this world, which is creating art, art that will shape people's, shape people's lives. It is deeply upsetting, and I shed many tears every time somebody in the arts who has finally made it, who is finally being paid to create the art that they love, loses that opportunity because of corporate brain rot. And it is
Yes.
deeply disappointing. And our hearts go out to everybody at Respawn and Insomniac, everybody affected by these rampant layoffs. That said, moving into the Star Wars specific angle here, and I alluded to it, there's another one in the fucking bucket.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
I'm sad,
I
man.
I don't want to sound like the type of Star Wars fan that I make fun of semi-professionally at this point. But Star Wars in the gaming space is in such a disappointing fucking slump.
Yes.
Like, again, don't get me wrong. We have gotten absolute heaters.
Yeah.
The Jedi game.
100%.
You know,
100%.
well, you know what? Let me take that back a step though. We got heaters like the Jedi games. It took Battlefront 2 about 2 years to get unfucked.
Yeah.
Battlefront 1, I respect the fact that they wanted their scope to be the original trilogy. However, I remain disappointed that that was the case. I remain frustrated that the game had so little to do at launch back in 2015. You know, you had a number of game modes and like 3 planets, you know, which again for $60, that's not a lot, you know. That's
Yeah.
that's coming with DLC you got to pay for.
Yep.
That's coming with you know, the Outer Rim pack and the Death Star pack and the Cloud City pack and the Rogue One pack, you know, that eventually builds it out further and further and further and further to, you know, more maps on Tatooine, you know, Cloud City, the Death Star, you know,
Right.
all this, you know, heroes, you know, Lando and Dengar and Greedo and Nyan Num, and Jin and Krennic, you know, like again, like that game ended in a great place. Battlefront 2 ended in a great place. Why did we have to why did it have to be this way? And it is
Right.
because of like greedy practices by EA. That window where EA were the only people who could touch Star Wars has resulted in 2 games that had to go on these ridiculous redemption arcs. An objectively incredible action adventure game. A pretty good like online pilot game, you know, and
Yep.
Galaxy of Heroes, which, you know, say what you will about it. Like, I love it. I spend more time on that game than I probably should, you know, but like
Yeah.
in this brief amount of time, there has been a low yield of Star Wars games that do not have an asterisk next to it. And I will even say, as someone who rides for the Star Wars Jedi games, who, you know, again, one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars, Legends, canon, whatever, is Cal Kestis. As much as I love those stories, even those have asterisks next to them because of how fucking buggy they were, are, and have gotten over time.
Yeah.
You know, like people couldn't play Fallen Order or people could play Survivor on PC at launch.
Yeah.
It was broken.
Yeah.
The game was broken. I booted it up the other day just because I felt like swinging a lightsaber a little bit,
As you
and
do.
I wanted to do that ninth sister fight that I talk about loving all the time. Um,
Absolutely.
I still my frame rate drops every time I double jump dash coming out of the Mantis on Kobo. It drops to a crawl just to get
Yikes.
out of the ship quick. I just and I go, and the moment I hit dash, it goes frame
E-
by frame, and then Cal almost teleports into the
Yeah.
front of Pyloon Saloon. Um, it's really disappointing. It's really disappointing, and there's also the litany of game projects that just haven't gotten off the ground because of it. You know, there's Project Ragtag. There was another first-person shooter that fell through. There was there were so many of these games that just have never come to light, and it's just deeply disappointing the state that Star Wars gaming is in right now. There's more hype for games that are 20 years old right now than there are for like upcoming releases. And I don't want to be and I don't want to sound spoiled, and I don't want to in any way, shape, or form condone crunch culture. Not for a moment. Because again, these artists who I've spent so long talking about how much valor I impart onto them, for the simple fact of being artists in a corporate setting, um, there is the fact that so much is expected of them.
Yeah.
and they were pushed so far. It was one of the issues with Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which a game I love. Some people have different opinions on. Whatever, you're entitled to that. I loved it. I had a great time with it.
Yep. Same.
At some point, whenever it's on like May the 4th super duper fuck you sale, I'm gonna buy it for my PlayStation because I only have it on my Switch. And I'd like to play it on a stronger console. But all of that said, like I don't want to validate crunch culture, but like it just feels like it's a whole lot of projects that can't get off the ground, and I I have a hard time not pointing the finger at EA and developers who just want infinite growth. And while I do all that bitching, like I'm gonna do the, it should have been you meme. Um, all of this, why have we why are we pretending Star Wars Eclipse is coming out still?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question.
Do you have any idea how quickly I would trade Eclipse for this Mandalorian first person shooter?
I don't. But I can imagine.
Just in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Also, okay, so my thing that has me really upset about this one is the fact that it was being made by Respawn. And in case somebody doesn't know, Respawn is also who makes Apex Legends, which is one of the like top battle royale games and has been since 2020 when it came out. Like the game's good. I haven't played it in a hot minute, but from what I remember, the game's pretty good. The mechanics and everything are good. And like they have characters that have like Star Wars-esque abilities and stuff. But yeah, I think that if you had like if you took Apex Legends and you put like Star Wars skins on the characters, it would be super sick, and I feel like everybody would love it.
Yeah. No,
Like I imagine that's what the combat would be like if it's gonna be like FPS like that. So, but yeah, that's why I'm upset about it because I know it would have been fucking awesome.
that would have been incredible. We all lost. We all lost,
Yeah.
some more than others who lost their actual jobs.
Is this loss?
This is loss. So again, our hearts go out to everybody affected by these layoffs. I am hopeful that we're approaching a golden age of Star Wars gaming. I think that, coming out of the EA exclusivity deal, I think we're experiencing growing pains.
Yeah.
I think that as time goes on, there will be a, like again, like we have Outlaws coming out this year. We have again, like, do you have any idea how much I want to be excited for a game about the High fucking Republic? Like, I never want to see David Cage in a dark alley. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I would never want to see this man for both of our
You mean
sakes.
he never wants to see you in Dark Alley?
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
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 I know I said it last time. That's my favorite part of that.
No, yeah, it is objectively the funniest part. But yeah, moving on real quick before we jump into our Bad Batch talk, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the precipice of Acolyte season.
Yes.
As some of you may have seen, there is reporting floating around that we are on the cusp of Star Wars: The Acolyte. Let me pull something up real quick. So right now, the hubbub is the fact that there is a Twitter page connected to the Acolyte that is officially active. Now, when I say active, I mean it is activated. It is a private Twitter account with no header, no banner, or no header, no posts. It's a locked account, no profile picture. The only thing that we know about it is that it is an official account because, as Twitter is now, because we got rid of verification, so we have to have 18 different new versions of verification. It has the golden, this is an official brand Twitter page check mark, and the who it is affiliated thing with the Star Wars logo next to it. So this is 100% no bullshit.
This is
The
real.
Twitter page for the Acolyte. People are speculating that we are on the precipice of a trailer for the Acolyte because this looks like the marketing is about to begin. Again, this is being recorded on March 9th, 2024, to be released on March 10th, 2024, and the Oscars are tonight. So if they drop an Acolyte trailer tonight, we'll talk about it this week, we promise. It's funny. I was joking with my girlfriend on her way home. She picked me up from work. I said something to the effect of telling her all of that. Like it looks like the Acolyte trailer might be coming soon, and I was like, yeah. And then hey, if it releases tomorrow, the day the episode comes out, it is what it is. Who's counting? And she chuckled, and I took a pause, and I said, I'm counting. It happens every fucking time.
I'm counting. Yeah.
Without fail, this shit happens all the fucking time. But
okay, this might happen, and then as soon as you release the episode, it's like, hey, it did happen.
Listen, I will keep this tangent brief. I will never actually complain about that happening again after the debacle that happened on my old show. On the old show, it was while we were with Dewback. It was Hall of Heroes.
Okay.
It was on Hall of Heroes. It was on HOH, and it was like a couple weeks after. It was the week that Spider-Man Far From Home cracked $1 billion at the box office, and Spencer, Travis, and myself, with all the unearned confidence that three white men in a room together can muster, we're like, there is no way, because the whole thing was like, this is the technical end of the Marvel Sony deal. They need to renegotiate something new. But we were like, there is no way they let this deal fall apart. There is no way on God's green earth this deal does it. Thumping our chests about how set this is forever. Spider-Man's going to be an Avenger for the rest of our lives. And the next motherfucking day, IGN exclusive.
Yeah.
Talks between Disney and Sony have fallen apart. Spider-Man no longer in the MCU. And because of the release cadence for the Dewback shows, we would record Hall of Heroes at the beginning of the week. And it would drop on Fridays, which in hindsight, not in hindsight, I said this, but it was awful because so much news would break. And by the time the show came out, everything was old news. Yeah. But I remember I was like, I was texting, TJ. I was like, dude, we gotta record an addendum to this. I was like, we need to release an emergency show now. And he just stitched on like an extra 40 minutes of show that was like preceded by a woo alarm that was like, so we cursed the Sony deal. But anyway, as all of that to say, I am probably willing an Acolyte trailer into existence out of spite now. But anyway, when it comes out, we'll talk about it. Right now, speculation is saying that June 5th will mark the beginning of the Acolyte. So we are absolutely in the window where the promotion should be starting. Lucasfilm has been weird about marketing for their shows, especially trying to avoid beginning marketing while the show is already happening. But that also didn't stop them from releasing a whole other show at the same time another show was coming out. Looking at you, Mandalorian, in the middle of the Bad Batch last year. So all of that to say, trying to predict when we're going to be getting any type of press or marketing for these shows is damn near impossible, but it looks like we are on the precipice of Acolyte season. So stay tuned for that, and you will be getting week-to-week coverage about the Acolyte. And little nugget here. For those of you who enjoyed my live stream after show reviews of Ahsoka, I will absolutely be doing that for the Acolyte this year. So stay tuned for that. If anybody wants to stay up late and talk about the new shows as they air, because I had a lot of fun doing that, and I feel confident enough to do that on the Acolyte this coming year.
It was a good time.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, moving on to our main topic today. Kason, how are you feeling about these last 2 episodes of Bad Batch?
I'm feeling pretty good. Um, I just love the batch. I didn't watch the first season when it originally aired, and then I binged it right before season 2 came out last year, and I fell in love with the show. So I'm hyped about the whole thing. I'm enjoying it, loving it, excited to see what happens next. Um, no real complaints or anything on my end.
Yeah.
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 I mean, obviously, except for we talked about it last year, soft fucking Guerrera, but we'll get into that again later if we need to.
So you are in 2 episodes that did not feature Saw Gerrera, angry at Saw Gerrera.
I'm gonna be angry at Saw Gerrera forever. Cause like he's the one that he's the one that is in Rogue One, like the famous quote, like lies, deception. But like this dude didn't give a shit about anybody else during the Clone Wars or during the time between, like with the rebellion and everything. I mean, like he cares about people, but he also doesn't at the same time. And it's a moral conundrum, and I hate it.
Listen,
'Cause I can see why he's right, but also pisses me off.
I'm not going to say whom, but he may be a former movie trivia Schmodown Star Wars champion, and may or may not be the host of a weekly talk show with a friend of ours that I watch a lot. He and I got into a playful verbal tussle not too long ago about whether or not Saw Gerrera is a villain.
Yeah.
And once Bad Batch wraps up, I plan on reaching out to him to have a conversation about that.
All right.
Because
All right.
I listen, I appreciate Saw Gerrera on the level of I feel like the Empire gets it too easy from your Leias and your Lukes and your Mothmas. Like I understand that
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I agree that they are the moral North Star of it is very much about how you fight against the man. I get that.
Yeah.
But also sometimes you need to just blow shit up.
Yes. I can also
I
agree with
would
that.
I think I have a softer opinion on Saw Gerrera than most people. But all of that said,
Okay, so Ken's on my side.
yeah. I love how you dropped the veneer. So Ken Knapsack, Ken the Pit Boss Knapsack, Force Center, the Blathering, for anytime Ken.
You agree with me?
Yes,
All right,
yes,
cool.
Ken Knapsack. Yeah.
Good to know. Good
Yeah,
guy,
Ken is team fuck Saw Gerrera. Ken is team fuck Saw Gerrera and Luthen Rail.
Ooh, all right.
He looks at Saw and Luthen as like 2 peas in a pod.
All right.
Which I think is interesting because I also have a lot of like complicated feelings about Luthen Rail. But anyway, no, I did really enjoy these last 2 episodes. I think that you know the development with Crosshair, and as Alex Damon has made several Zuko comparisons so far. And again, thank you to Alex and Molly for having me on this week to talk about this week's episode. By the way, if you haven't seen that, go watch that. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and especially over the course of these last 2 episodes, because there has been we joke about this a lot. Star Wars is never super fucking subtle.
Yeah.
However, Star Wars can be dense with its metaphor. Even if it is on the nose, there is a lot to unpack, and it's multi-layered a lot of the time. And I am deeply in love with the framing of Crosshair in these last 2 episodes. I think that there is something profound and beautiful about the meta conversation Crosshair is having with the story. He is constantly talking about, leave Batcher behind. She's not a part. And it's, a lot of the time it is circling back to Crosshair is talking about himself. When Crosshair is saying leave Batcher behind, I think part of that reflects on him viewing himself as being worthy of being left behind.
I can see that.
Especially in the return, all the way back in the Outpost last season, there's a whole thing with that like ice vulture.
Yeah.
It's like it's vicious. It'll do anything to survive.
Yeah.
And
That episode came out, like, what was it? 1 year ago yesterday? Or the day before?
no. That one was like late into the season.
The Outpost?
Yeah.
I
The
could've
one we
swore I
were
saw
talking
that
about
said
on
it
Soul
aired a year
Train
ago.
was the Gungi one. That
Oh.
was like I was back on the show almost a year to the day.
Gotcha.
To talk about the same place in the season. But no, like I really love this idea that Crosshair is consistently identifying with the idea of not being worth saving, of being good for nothing but surviving at the cost of horrific violence. That he is in many ways haunted by this idea that he can be nothing but a killer. It's something that comes up a lot of the time, and and I think it bears repeating that Hunter, this tracking savant, technological genius, wrecker, super strength, Echo, fucking
Asteroid.
cyborg.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody has all of these talents that can aid people in like various ways. Is a thoroughbred, dyed in the wool killer.
Yeah.
And you're taking somebody who now has to accept this idea that like what makes me me is that I am vicious, violent, and good at shooting people. And I am not equipped to be taking care of this child. I am not a fit role model, and it is slowly watching Crosshair, accept these, ideas that like, no, you are more than these things that you have accepted yourself as. It was something I talked about on Star Wars Explained that, you know, Crosshair, whenever Hunter's like, what happened here? It was even what happened here, but like, what did you do to piss the Empire off? What
Yeah.
did you do to make them turn on you? Did you betray them like you betrayed us? And Crosshair, I think out of spite, and I think out of, again, this cycle of I will be the monster you think I am because I think I am this monster because I'm made to feel like this monster because I am this. It's this vicious cycle
Right.
psychologically for him that, when he's given the opportunity, what did you do to piss off the Empire? He lies by omission to make himself seem worse. I think that is so deeply fascinating
Yeah.
and such an incredible choice creatively. That instead of being like, yeah, man, like and again, he doesn't even tell Hunter in that moment it happened on this very planet, at this
Yeah.
very outpost. He's just like, yeah, man, I gunned down my superior officer because I'm a traitor, just like you said.
Yeah.
Crosshair had a legitimate opportunity to be like, listen, man, I was here. There was this clone commander named Mayday. They left us in the shit. They were treating us like we were less than human. It was
Right.
awful. It was violent. It was terrifying. And this officer could not give a damn less about us. And in that moment, I realized I picked the wrong side. I picked the side that views us as profoundly expendable. And I said, enough is enough.
Yep.
And I didn't think I'd be here to tell you this. He could have said that, or a crosshairier version of that. But instead, I'm a traitor and I'm a killer.
Just like you said.
Just like you said. And I think that there is that again, you take that metaphor a little bit further, when you look back at different approach, the title of that episode that we both knew for sure. Um,
Yes.
you know, again, Crosshair's like, leave Batcher behind. Fuck it. We do not have time to go save the dog. How do they win the day? They set all of those animals free. And because those animals all unite, they are able to put up a front to disorganize, disorient, and push back the Empire long enough for Omega, Crosshair, and Batcher to escape. And I love this idea that it's like, no, like Crosshair, the biggest thing you are missing is that everyone is worth saving, even you. And we will only be able to stop the Empire from doing what it's doing to us if we all come together, if we all trust each other, if we all, break our chains and push back. Like not to be dour, I don't think a lot of those animals made it off of that planet. Obviously. I don't like a lot of their odds after they all broke out.
Yep. The stormtroopers have horrible aim, so.
But they did tell the Empire to kick rocks in their act of resistance. And they fucked with the Imperial operation there by doing so. And in a system this vast and interconnected, a little bit of bullshit up here causes bullshit down here.
Right.
That is why the Rebel Alliance, or before it was an alliance, but all these like pockets of insurgency across the galaxy so effectively slowly turned the heat up on the Empire.
Yep.
It might be a Jogan fruit up here, but there's a whole ass heist happening on Aldhani at the same time.
Yep.
And they're just getting pulled thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner while they're at it. Which I think is deeply fascinating. I just really love the way that, the show is leaning into this idea of Crosshair slowly accepting his own humanity. That I think that there's something really interesting that he took umbrage with the way the clones were being treated. But I think on some level, he still does not see himself worthy as not being treated that way. That I do think there obviously is a whole lot of guilt there still. And, from Hunter's perspective, and there's something I talked about on Star Wars Explained. I want so badly written down on paper, because I'm just so fascinated by that beat, Hunter's internal monologue when he's watching Crosshair pick up the helmets. Because I think he gets it on some level. Like there's something happened here with these clones.
Yep.
That shook you. But coming after us didn't.
Right.
Us being your prey didn't shake you to your core like this.
Yeah, it was these rando regs and not your boys.
Yeah.
That made you see what the fuck was going on here.
Yeah. That and even if that isn't fully accurate to the situation, obviously they could not have, again, things happened, Tech died, and Omega was captured in the end, but Crosshair was the one who was like, hey, ringing the bell, y'all gotta get in the game now.
Yeah.
Shit's going left.
Yeah.
Nut up or shut up. It's time to roll out. Yeah. Knowing it would, assuming logically this would get him killed. This would cost him his life. He made that decision. So on some level, again, he's making these decisions, he's getting active, and he's like there was a moment where he chose Omega's life over his own. But I don't think he sees it that way. I think he sees his ledger is so full of red that there is no way to clean it out. And that like I think that there's a beautiful visual metaphor in this episode with Crosshair donning his old armor,
Yes.
because the Bad Batch, everybody in Clone Force 99 except for him, have evolved. They wear their orange and teal because they've changed. They have grown from Clone Force 99, these fervently loyal soldiers in the Grand Army of the Republic. In coming home, Crosshair has started from scratch.
Yep.
He's back to square one. It's like, our friend Alden Diaz, I feel like I'd say his fucking name once an episode, and it pisses me off because he's so goddamn smart. He could teach and he could give an entire lecture about one of the best lines in all of The Mandalorian. I think my
So I've
armor
spoken.
has lost my. What'd you say?
So I've spoken.
Yeah, I've spoken. I think my armor has lost its integrity. I may need to begin again. That Din's whole worldview has been shaken to its foundation by his betrayal of Grogu. And I think I need to begin. My armor has lost its integrity. I think I need to begin again for Crosshair.
Yeah.
I think it's very powerful. I'm so fascinated by where the season is going. Again, I do not want to diminish animation as a child's medium. That's obviously not true. Nor do I want to bash on the Clone Wars by virtue of praising the Bad Batch, because they're very different shows. Just because they all follow the clones and stuff, like TCW is very Adventure of the Week. And this is like, we are with these characters all the time, following their story, as opposed to, it's an Obi-Wan episode, it's an Anakin episode, it's Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka. Oh, hey, it's a Mace Windu episode. Oh, Jar Jar Binks has a girlfriend.
Right.
It's like the Clone Wars is a lot of things that has like 4-ish main characters for the most part, and a lot of episodes that are explicitly not about them as well. Pardon me, hiccups. Bad Batch, being as centered as it is able to tell a lot longer, drawn out, multi-episode stories that, for example, I love where Crosshair and Hunter end this episode and end the return,
Yes.
because it is in a place of, I love you. The situation's still fucked up. Both of us have a lot to process still. But I got you.
Yes. I think it means a lot that Crosshair was like, hey, by the way, I didn't know what else to do, man. And I was like, yeah, dog, like none of us did. But the fact that, you did what you did. I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but it was still profoundly fucked up and should not have happened.
Yeah.
But maybe we can work past that.
Maybe we could work past it, And again, like I don't know how the Clone Wars would have handled it. I don't want to say that, Clone Wars would have had Hunter and Crosshair hugging and be best friends again by the end of the episode. I don't want to say that. I think that would be overly simplifying it and, flattening the very complex emotional turns that show can take.
Yeah.
But like Bad Batch as a show has the latitude for them to end on better terms. They're explicitly not on good terms yet. And I really like, again, there's an emotional verisimilitude of like instances where Hunter is in the wrong. It is not, again, it is not taking an easy way out. of, kind of nailing Crosshair to the cross, justifiably,
Right.
you have Hunter who's become reckless and, hot-headed and headstrong and is being standoffish in a way that, on the mission, not the fucking time.
Right.
He knows that if he's just following Crosshair everywhere, he is actively picking a fight. He knows Crosshair well enough to know that. It's a choice he's making.
Yep.
He's feeling inclined to right now. I think that, Alex has an interesting point about like, Hunter has a tendency to get jealous of, the other figures in Omega's life when she starts to emulate them. That he kind of has like a, he does not like sharing the spotlight of role model. I agree with that to a point. I think a lot of it is that like, I think on some level, Hunter as a father, as a brother, loves who he is when he's with Omega.
Yes.
That there is that Omega imparts a grace unto people that fundamentally changes them on a brain chemistry level. And I think that Hunter is protective of that. I think that Hunter does not want Omega's, wide-eyed, merciful, inherent talent of bringing out the best of people to be squandered on people who don't deserve it.
Right.
And I think in Hunter's eyes, for obvious reasons, there's nobody less deserving of Omega's grace than Crosshair.
Yes.
And that I think he is so deeply afraid that Crosshair will fuck up again and it will cost Omega that just cosmic sunshine she imparts onto people.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. I think there is so much going on at this point in the season. I cannot wait for what we're getting moving forward. These are one of those instances where like, I try to not get too trailer brained.
Yeah.
I try not to get hype pilled with stuff. Like there's a certain tendency to be like, show me the thing you promised me. Because the end result is people not taking stories for what they are. I talk about it on the main show all the time that like, that kind of thinking is why the discourse around She-Hulk fucking sucked.
Yeah, I still haven't watched She-Hulk, but I assume it's not as bad as the internet thinks it is.
She-Hulk's great. You will love She-Hulk.
Yeah.
She-Hulk is my second favorite Marvel show.
Just the other day, for some reason, I saw an influx of Marvel killed the Hulk memes. And I was like, what the fuck is this about? And then I saw like it was like intertwined with like She-Hulk discourse, and I was like, this happened so long ago. Why am I just now getting an influx of this? Like, this is so whack.
But like,
also, I wanted to loop back around to the thing with Hunter. About being protective over Omega, because I think it's part of what you said, but I also feel like part of it is he legitimately feels like he can't trust any of the other members of the batch fully with Omega. I feel like, because like obviously like you can trust Wrecker to protect her and everything, but also Wrecker's his character literally is not the brightest. Like he's kind of dumb. He's a kid. He's a big strong kid. So like Hunter's probably like, well, I can't really like leave this kid in his care because like, he's a kid himself. And then like you have Tech. Tech is smart. Tech could also like do a decent job protecting her, but also like, let's face it, Tech's autistic.
He does not have the warmth. He is not capable of like leveling with her in the way that Hunter can.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have Crosshair, who is straight killer. So he's like, I probably don't want to leave her with that guy either. Yeah. He's like, I'm probably not going to leave her with that guy.
Yeah.
And then, like when Echo's there, he used to be a normal clone, but now he's half cyborg.
Yeah.
Like,
Echo is
emotion
more
and everything, but yeah.
Echo is more invested in the prosperity of clones at large.
Yes.
Wrecker is a child himself. Tech and and granted, like they start to edge around that in season 2 with Tech, but for the most part in Hunter's eyes, there is that level of like, you will take care of her and watch over her, but like you don't have that like gentle parent's touch.
Yeah.
And we couldn't leave Crosshair alone with the fucking droid.
Right.
And I think a lot of that boils down to, and it's a great quirk of Crosshair or of Hunter's character, that he is that that kind of leadership, that kind of expectation to be a level head in a group of again, like not great at social cues. Tech, Wrecker is a gigantic child, Crosshair is a hot-headed asshole, Echo's kind of here.
Yeah. But he's also a cyborg.
Yeah, but like not even as like a character flaw. Like Echo has never, like Echo has always been the like
Oh yeah.
I'm here because I'm a cyborg.
Right.
I don't quite fit in with the Bad Batch.
Right.
Like I was kind of lumped in here because I am part droid. That like Hunter is like that Hunter in partially in truth and partially, by virtue of what I'm about to say, has developed this complex that the responsibility falls on his shoulders alone to keep the ship afloat. And that there is a responsibility, that level of responsibility that again is based in truth, but starts to fuck with your head after a while of being the guy.
Yeah.
That like you start to undervalue the people around you because you see them for these perceived flaws and
Yes.
almost nothing else. That's not to say that he again looks at Echo's not one of us, Tech is unfeeling, Wrecker is a moron, and fuck Crosshair. Fuck Crosshair is true in his eyes, but like those other three, it's not that he boils them down to just those three things. But he's the leader for a reason.
Right.
So yeah. What I was saying though about like trailer brain as a thing, I'm really glad, and this is again just the way the discourse works and how it is human nature to be excited for the thing is coming. That's why I brought up She-Hulk. We spent every week of She-Hulk having these these mind-numbing conversations about where's Daredevil, where's Daredevil, where's Daredevil, where's Daredevil, where's Daredevil, that nobody wanted to take the show for what it was. They saw it as a vehicle to see Daredevil.
Right.
Happened with Echo a little bit, where it's like, okay, we get Daredevil in the first episode, and then like there were a lot of people who I think the moment they saw Daredevil, the moment
Like,
Daredevil
the
left,
Daredevil show.
yeah, and oh shit, it's actually about this person who occupies a litany of identities that I don't directly relate to and therefore don't care about. Never mind.
Yeah.
That I think on
That's
some
fair.
level, like with Bad Batch, I am really glad that seemingly they have stuck their flag and have called their shot so confidently, that even I, who was excited to see the Emperor and am very excited to see what they do with Asajj Ventress. Palpatine and Ventress never crossed my mind in these last two episodes.
Same. I kind of forgot the Ventress was going to be in this, to be honest with you. And now I'm excited all over again.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like there is this level of like it could like it, if I feel like if they didn't call their shot this well and let people just kind of simmer in the greater narrative here, there could be a chance for that to creep in. And obviously, people are going to do that regardless, but like I've been so enveloped in the story that I am not actively like, like I haven't even thought about like, again, what is going on with Omega M count Metachlorian shit.
Right.
I've been thinking about what is happening with this band of brothers and their sister daughter.
Yes.
So I'm very happy with it. Kason, do you have anything else before we bring this bad boy home?
I don't think so. Just excited to see what happens next. As I just said, I totally forgot that Ventress was going to be in this, so I'm pumped all over again.
Well,
Do we know how many episodes the season's going to have?
Yes, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I know it has enough that it ends on May 1st.
Okay, so we got some time. All right.
With a mid-season two-parter like last year.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and I do know that the people who got screeners saw the first 8 episodes and have not seen Ventress yet.
All right.
So we have a ways to go before we meet Asajj.
All right.
But yeah. Kason, where can the lovely people find you?
I'm here sometimes, most of the time, not all the time though. At Cray Breezy on Instagram and Twitter, and I also manage a deathcore band. Their stuff's in my bios if you want to check that out.
Hell
Jarod,
yeah.
where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, TikTok, and at our website, the Nerd Academy Podcast.com, where if you want to get your hands on some TNAP merch, you can click that student store link.
TeePublic.com.
TeePublic.com, baby.
Speaking of Nerd Academy merch, I'm going to say it again for the end of the episode. If you have not already, go to our social media. Again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All of those, you can get your hands on this graphic right here. Fill out your bracket. Be sure to get, again, the final 2 here, who you think will win between whoever wins on either side. And submit it to nerdacademypod@gmail.com. That is nerdacademypod@gmail.com, where you will get your hands on some free Nerd Academy podcast merch on the house if you have the most accurate bracket at the end of the stream. I'm very excited for this. I think there are going to be some upsets. I'm not going to get too into detail, but there's a specific matchup that I think will happen in round 2 or 3 that is gonna. I think it might break some brackets.
All right.
I think it might be a bracket breaker. But if you're feeling generous and you want to chuck in a buck to our Patreon, you can also click on that at our website. I forgot how to phrase that, and it now is clunky and bizarre.
Hey, give me $1.
Give us $1 nonetheless.
Give us $1 nonetheless. Give us $1 and maybe I'll learn how to fucking speak. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Keandre Lloyd.
Colin Provolone. Sir.
So good.
Steal yourself, Colin! Steal yourself!
This is me stealing myself.
To Paco, or as he's going by on our Patreon, ChatGPT.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
And to our dear friend and $10 patron, Ray Clausen, who asks that you donate to Equality Texas and help keep queer kids safe in the Lone Star State. Folks, after we get through the Versus Series tournament, I just realized my computer is unplugged and could have died at any moment here. We're going to be getting back into the Versus Series proper. We have not Darth Vader. I already did our Darth Vader matchup. Darth Vader versus Yoda. That is also available for Season 5. We're going to be doing Darth Malgus versus Mace Windu. And another matchup that I haven't quite made up my mind yet, but we will have an announcement for that as well soon. What else? Oh, we are going to be getting into the end game here with setting up the new studio. So I want to make a couple announcements for you guys. Once the studio is up and running, I've said this a couple times. I want to get into streaming. So Star Wars Outlaws, that'll be a thing. Battlefront 2 is coming out this week. That'll be a thing.
That'll be a thing.
That'll very much be a thing. We are also going to be going into doing video essays as well. I have a couple in the chamber. The main one that I have begun work on, I have begun writing this down finally. I will be doing a season 2 pitch for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm going to be doing my version of Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 that will be directly connected to a follow-up that I'll be doing to that, which will be my pitch for the Rey Skywalker New Jedi Order movie. How are those things connected? If you've listened to me speak for long enough, you know exactly how they're connected. Little bit of sizzle. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited to get those going. I'm very, 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 very excited. Speaking of pitch videos, Eli over at Star Wars in a Galaxy has a pitch out for his version of Book of Boba Fett season 2. I implore all of you to go check out. It's a great video. Eli's fantastic, as you all know. But yeah, I think that'll do it for us this week. Again, submit your brackets, nerdacademypod@gmail.com. Most accurate bracket will win free Nerd Academy merch. Very excited for that stream.
Also, submit questions to us for next week.
Yes, that was my fault. I was busy with my new job this week and forgot to do that and schedule this better. But there will be.
I just thought I'd throw it in there so that if anybody feels so inclined, we could answer some questions next time.
There's always open Q&A stuff. Always submit questions for the Q&A. Tag us at Nerd Academy 1 on Twitter, and we will always answer your questions on the show. But
yes,
with that said, thank you, or leave them in the comments. But for all of that said, thank you all so much, very much for joining us. We are honored that you have joined us, and may the force be with you always.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.